It's the best iPhone that we have ever created. This is iPhone 7.
The big news from today's Apple iPhone launch was perhaps what Apple has taken away rather than what it has added to its smartphone. The disappearance of the 3.5mm headphone jack, which has existed for a century, is something that is already upsetting people even before Apple made its announcement. But at the same time as being very bold and saying how courageous it was in doing away with this legacy vintage technology, it's actually been quite conservative in keeping the same design that it's had for 2 years already and introducing many more incremental innovations at the same time. One of the most interesting new pieces of hardware that Apple announced today are these, the new AirPods. They're Apple's evolution of the AirPods that it came out with a few years ago, but without the wires. And they come in this little tic-tac sized box. You just pop it open to start the pairing process. When you put the AirPods into both ears, the music immediately starts playing, and when you take one out again, it pauses so that you can have a conversation with the people around you. While a lot of the attention has been on the headphone jack, for me the more interesting thing is the camera. Adding a second lens, which gives you telephoto capabilities, is interesting in and of itself. But what's also fascinating going forward is whether that technology can pave the way for new augmented reality and virtual reality applications, which is something that Tim Cook has spoken very enthusiastically about in recent months.
As often with Apple, what we've seen today is not going to make all sense today. There's going to be a lot of things that 6 months down the line or a year down the line, the penny is going to drop and you think, that's why they did that. And I think, the headset and the dual lens are probably the two more obvious one. On the headset side, I think that really thinking more about devices that work together. So the fact that the AirPods are syncing my phone, my Mac, my watch. If you're thinking about that continuum of experiences that goes across, that's really powerful. And on the lenses, I think AR is the most obvious one. And if you're thinking about how you can render a 3D space, something that Tango has been trying to do for a while now, but seems still very gimmicky. Apple is not into gimmicks, and so it might be still a few years before we see what the ultimate goal is, but they're starting to seed the market and they're starting making consumer comfortable with what they're doing.
This is the first year in the iPhone's 9-year history that Tim Cook has stepped up on stage to launch a new model when sales have been declining. Wall Street's response to the technology that was unveiled on stage was largely a shrug. The shares seem to be unchanged, and it seems that investors are seeing little of the many controversial innovations unveiled that could really rekindle the iPhone's growth story. This is Tim Bradshaw at the Financial Times in San Francisco.